Hello, everybody. This is MoveEasy Yoga with Via, and Kathy's on the floor. She's got our model, student model, and we're going to get started in the regular fashion on the floor, just like Kathy. And today is November 7th, 2020. Just starting, lying on your back. You may want to put a few washcloths under your head. You want a neutral cervical spine, not too hyperextended and not too flexed, not too forward, not too much back, just neutral. And just starting to notice your breath. And notice the floor as it comes up to meet you. And support you. I love my body loves me. Think of the optic nerves running from the back of the eyeball through the eye, a hole at the back of the eye socket. They cross, and just below where they cross is the pituitary gland. Think about that location, that pituitary gland, and just focus on that for a minute. This is a very nice, still place to focus on. I love my body loves me. Bring your hands behind your head. Interlace your fingers or stack your hands just so that you're pressing the back of the base of the skull, the occipital ridge, into your hands and into the floor. If this is hard on your shoulders, you could do the same pose without your hands behind your back. Put them somewhere else. So this is an eye shifting movement. All you're going to move, nothing else. Move your eyes to the right and wait for a swallow, sigh, yawn, or gulp. If you're just beginning vagus nerve reset, this exercise for resetting the vagus nerve, you may not get your sigh, swallow, yawn, or gulp. It may take some practice, repetition. And then come on back to center and look to the left, all the way to the left, just the eyeballs, nothing else moves. And wait and watch for an involuntary sigh, swallow, yawn, or gulp. Come back to center and do this 2 more sets, right, left, right, left, right, left, without my cueing. So I do this at the beginning of every class just to settle in and release some of the tension we're holding in our bodies. And this is something you might want to do at the beginning of your home practice too, or whenever you feel you're holding stress. And whenever you're finished, leave your hands where they are, and we'll start to do head ramping. So in this case, you're going to just press the back of the skull, the back of the base of the skull, the occipital ridge into your hands, press. The head, the back of the head slides up the mat, on the mat. Your chin dips a little. You hold for a breath or two, and then release. And then do it again. Head ramping. This is a pose that counteracts forward head, forward shoulders, and text neck. It helps us restore good posture. Good posture is important for lower back health, which is the theme of our class today. And if you keep doing this, especially if you keep doing it, come to every class or keep doing it outside of class, your cervical spine is going to actually beg for this movement. It's going to really love, because it creates a lot of stability and strength in the cervical spine. It becomes a beautiful habit. And one more time, finish up. And then get onto your hands and knees. We're going to do proning and then a hypopressive proning, just because I've become fond of it. And I'll tell you why. Proning, so you're on your hands and knees, you drop. Let's do breath work first, a proning breath work. So you're on your hands and knees, and then come onto your elbows, drop your head. There's a straight line between your head and your hips. And let's do Viloma breathing here. So Viloma breathing, you may need to put some towels or a brick underneath your head. Viloma breathing, on your inhale, you divide it in thirds. The first inhale, you fill the first third of the lungs, pause. Second inhale, the second third of the lungs, pause. And then finally, the last breath is the last third of the lungs, pause. And then exhale in an ordinary fashion. Do about 4 more of those. You can make them really deep here, because the back, you're not lying down on the floor, which actually inhibits your breath, or at least it inhibits the breath in the back of the lungs. Actually, full breath is good for posture. So the more breath you can find in your lungs, the better posture you have, which also, as you know, affects lower back. go ahead and we're going to go into hypopressives. So this time you're going to make a triangle. You're still in the same shape. You're making a triangle with your hands and putting your head down. Remember, you might want to put it on a brick or a towel. And hypopressives are good for core work, which is good for back. So I think everyone's all heard this. Every time you improve your core, then the lower back doesn't have to do as much work. The core does the work. So from here, we're going to do 3 breaths, 3 ordinary breaths, and then hold your breath out, and I will count to 14 while you maintain this shape. Let's get started. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. All the way out. Hold your breath out. No breath. So you're holding your breath out without a breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's it. Come on out of that. I want to ask Christine. Christine, why is your head not down? Just tell me in chat or unmute yourself.
It hurts my shoulders and my forearms for some reason.
Is it always shoulders and forearms?
Not for, like, I can do a forearm plank maybe 20 seconds and it doesn't hurt, but holding this position just feels like here, my shoulder and my forearms hurt.
So maybe you should be up on like a stack of a blanket or a stack.
I'll get some.
You're still in that shape, but you've lifted your shoulders up a little higher. Let's try it again for Christine and see if she can, or if you have a bolster, a yoga bolster. Not many people have them, but is that better, Christine?
Yeah, I'll try. Thank you.
Okay, or maybe 2 blankets. So, yeah, okay. Okay, so assume your shapes. Assume the proning shape. Remember, I told you the proning shape is what they're doing in ICUs with COVID patients now to try to help them eliminate the breathe deeper and eliminate the congestion in the lungs. Okay, 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale all the way out. Hold your breath out, no breath. I'm going to count to 14. Come out early if you need to, especially if you're new. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, no breath. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And come on out. Find your way onto your back with a chair or a couch nearby so that you can put your knees up on it. We're going to do something that I don't do very often, but I highly recommend it for you. And I actually do recommend it for people at the end of the class, but I don't think very many people take me up on it. I haven't checked recently, but this position is a restorative position that releases the lower back, releases the psoas, and you still might want to have something underneath your head. It's up to you. And we're going to be here for 5 minutes. So
that feels great.
So we're going to be here for 5 minutes because I want you to realize, wait a minute here, I'm going to find 5 minutes here. You're just going to be here. This is it. Your arms are by your side, palms up, Unless that hurts your shoulders, then palms down. And just breathing. You could be, the people who promote and appreciate this pose, this restorative pose, would have you say that you could stay here for an hour and still be accumulating benefits. And it's more beneficial than just having your knees bent or your legs extended along the floor. And the idea is to have your knees at a 90-degree angle and your hips at a 90-degree angle. So hopefully you have a chair or a couch that will allow that. We could call this the do nothing pose.
For me.
Yeah, the do nothing pose. If my clients or students have back issues, lower back issues, this is one of the first things I have them do. If you didn't have time for a practice or you didn't have any ideas for a home practice and you wanted to give yourself a little self-love and self-care, this would be a perfect practice. Actually, Kathy, I'd like to see another washcloth or two under your head so your chin isn't sticking up like that.
Oh, really? Okay, let me see.
Whoops, she's going to have to get off her perch.
No, because I was just getting into being comfortable.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think your chin looks more level to me now.
Okay. This feels good on the lower back.
Mm. I think I announced before the class, so I should announce it now. I had this idea of having a class that focused on lower back injuries, lower back pain. But when I started to pull in some poses, I realized that almost everything we do can address or help address those issues. So I'm going to try to talk you through some of the things and remind you, even though I've been telling you works for osteoporosis, it also is helpful for lower back pain or for avoiding lower back pain. What happens with lower back pain is the lumbar spine starts taking on more and more work. It lifts, it becomes it's the area of the body that takes on the stress of lifting, pulling, tugging, rounding. And so you have to, anything you can do to release the hips or the shoulders or the lower back will start to unravel that and bring better, big health to the lower back. You always have to be listening to your body. Never do anything that takes you into a painful or tense place. If you meet some tension or pain, slow down or make the movements smaller or stop altogether. Okay, stay on your back. Take the chair away, bend your knees. We're going to do 6 directions of movement for the pelvis. The pelvis can move independently from the lower back, but often it doesn't. And so this exercise is going to help it do that and thereby relieve the lumbar spine. So the pelvis is two bones on either side of the sacrum below the lumbar spine. And the first movement, first 2 movements are up and down, called posterior and anterior tilt. You can think of it, let's talk about it from the point of view of the pubic bone. If you you're not lifting your butt up or anything, but if you roll the pubic bone up towards the ceiling, the back of that's a posterior tilt of the pelvis. And then if you roll the pubic bone down towards the floor between your legs, that's an anterior tilt. So do this, find these 2 places. Think of the rocking the 2 pieces of the pelvis, one on either side of the sacrum, rocking back and forth, up and down. It's not a lift, it's a rock. And just find those 2 places as far as you can tilt the pubic bone towards the ceiling and as far as you can tilt it between your legs towards the floor. And do it a couple more times. And think of what you're doing and just notice that the pelvis can move independently from the lumbar spine, which is an important revelation and an important practice. The next movement, two more, it's a pair. You're going to drop, it's called, what is it? No, we're going to do a hip hike. So put your hand at the top of the side of the pelvis. You can feel your pelvis bone. And then you can hike that bone up towards your armpit. So start on the right side. Obviously, the left side drops. And then you do it on the left side. The left top edge of the pelvis lifts along the floor towards the armpit. And just keep doing that. Hip hikes, it's called. Belly dancers know how to do this really well, which makes belly dancing a very good practice for strengthening the lower back, actually. So remember, you're not rolling from side to side. We're going to do something, a rotating side to side next. So keep it pure. It's the pelvis goes straight up towards the armpit. And then the other side, the pelvis goes straight up towards the armpit. Do a couple more of those. Then the last set, so there are 6 directions of movement for the pelvis. And this is the pelvis moving independently from anything else. Now, the last one, you can put your hand on the ASIS, which is the bony landmark on the front of the pelvis. And you're going to drop the pelvis. On the right side, you're going to press that bone down and drop it towards the floor. It's a rotation. You're rotating the pelvis, and then you drop on the left side. So drop to the floor. The trick is not to combine this with the hip hike, so that you're just dropping, lifting, and then dropping on the other side. This is called pelvic rotation. It's you're rotating the pelvis. These are the 6 directions of motion of the pelvis. It is very beneficial for the hips and for the lower back to have the pelvis to train the body to know how to move these in these directions without separately from the thigh bone, the femur, and separately from the lumbar spine or any other body part. Finish up and then grab a strap. We're going to do leg stretch 1 and 2. So leg stretch 1 and 2, I often tell you this is an osteoporosis or a bone density rebuilder, and it is. But today we're going to talk about it as a lower back, as helping the lower back. Although we're going to also time it to treat it as a bone building move. So your leg goes straight up to the ceiling, put a strap around the ball of the foot. The right hand holds the right side of the strap. The left hand holds the left side of the strap. Keep your pelvis on the floor in a neutral position, not tilted, not tucked. And then we're going to time it so that it builds bone density, which is important even whether you have osteopenia or osteoporosis or not. Bone building, reversing our bones lose density from the time we're 30 years old. So, anytime you do this after 30, you're reversing that process, that natural process. Keep the pelvis on the floor. We're almost done. Now go ahead and put your straps in the right hand and take your leg out to the right. Remember, you want to keep the pelvis on both sides of the pelvis even on the floor while you drop your leg out to the right. You may not get as low as Kathy's. So just if your opposite hip starts to lift, then you know that you've gone too far, you need to come up a little bit. It's more important for the hips to be even on the floor than it is for your leg to be at the floor. And just stay here and breathe. And anytime you work on opening, releasing, and opening the shoulders or the hips, you benefit your lower back. Someone said something. Did you say something, Diana?
No.
No, okay. Well, if you want to say something, you can unmute and say something or put it in the chat. Everybody switch sides. Left leg, straight leg stretch number 1. These have Sanskrit yoga names, by the way, but they're very long.
Are you supposed to tense your leg or contract your leg, or is it just like you're just doing all the work with your arms?
Let me do that and see if I know the answer. Go ahead and start doing it, and I'm going to tell you what I think. The tension is in the strap. you're not hypo extending the back of your knee, so your knee is slightly soft. You're not tensing your leg.
Okay.
What you should be feeling is a stretch in the hamstring, along the
Yeah.
back of the hamstring. Yeah, no,
Okay.
there's no contraction called for here.
Okay.
It's happening at the femur, really, and the hamstring.
Yes.
And by the way, the hamstrings, often one of the reasons that our lower backs are in pain is because the hamstrings are tight. So go ahead and drop out to the left side. So as you probably are starting to get a sense of, and maybe you already knew this, but when you have lower back issues, there's like a number of reasons that could be. And one of them is tight hamstrings. But and you could have both. You could have like a tight piriformis, which we're going to work on shortly. Next, you could have tight piriformis. You could have tight hamstrings. You could have both of them. You could have a tight upper back. You could have all of those things. So that's one of the reasons lower back pain is so interesting and mysterious. Come on back, is because it can come from so many sources. And I would always opt for trying to figure out, or you don't even have to know, you could just do a practice like this, which addresses a lot of these issues. And then maybe you could, but before I went under the knife, I would try to do some of these things that will help with lower back. Okay, now we're going to take a therapy ball and we're going to try to release piriformis, which is a muscle in the glute.
The
And
one ball?
it can be big or little,
No,
depending.
one ball.
One ball. We could also, sometimes we do in this class, both balls horizontal at the sacrum, which would be another way to start to release some of the tension in the lumbar. But this time today, I don't think we're gonna have time to do that one here. Unless, well, we'll see. Put your ball under your right hip in the middle. Think of just right in the middle. And wait. So the first thing you do when you're doing therapy ball work is you wait. You can allow the weight of your body to press into the ball. If this is too much body weight for you at this time, you could go up to the wall and do something similar. Just so you know that if this is way too much, maybe it's very tense here. If you're starting to feel pain, you can reduce that or eliminate that by going up to the wall. But so here all you're going to do is start to move up and down over the ball. You may want to use your heels. You might want to use your elbows. Just try to roll back and forth over the balls about 6 times. Back and forth, up and down. And if you have big balls, the big balls are actually, if the little balls are painful, the big balls might be less pain, just so you know, because they don't grab quite as specifically.
Is that your cat?
That's my cat who wants to find a lap. I'm in cross-legged. She wants a lap. Okay, now you found a lap. You can just, okay, now side to side, everybody. Side to side. Anytime you're working the balls here in the glutes, it's gold for lower back because you're releasing some of the tension you hold there. And the piriformis, I think, might be a little higher than you are, Kathy, not sure. But you might want to experiment, especially if you have piriformis syndrome. This might be a really good thing for you to do, side to side. And then the next thing you want to do is drop your right knee out to the side and roll your hip towards the knee. So roll your body toward your both hips towards the knee. So you've brought the ball out to the side of the hip.
Yeah.
Makes sense? This is the place, this is the top of just above the IT band, the TFL. This is a place we hold a lot of tension. A lot of us hold a lot of tension. And so I hope you're finding that. It could be too tense for you. So if it's ever too tense with the therapy balls, like I said, you could go to the wall, or you could also move the location of the ball a little bit away from that really painful space, somewhere else in the neighborhood, and you're still working on the tension in that place. You just go to another place in the neighborhood. Go ahead and switch the ball to the other glute. Oops. And you know, the placement is up to you, really. It's your own archaeological dig. Where am I going to dig? What feels right to me? You can wait for a while. It's called compression. It's very effective. You don't have to do anything or do nothing. And then you start to move up and down a little bit. Now, Carol, I don't know how you're doing. The balls will be, I hope you'll get some balls because they'll be much more profound than what you're doing. Although even doing what you're doing, if you have a washcloth scrumpled up in a sock, I think you'll feel this still.
Oh, the therapy balls are great. I didn't think I'd use them, but I use them all the time.
Yep, they are good. And there are probably other therapy balls in the world that do good work, but I don't know them, so I can't really speak to them. I can highly recommend the Yoga Tune-Up therapy balls. Side to side, everybody. You want to do this 6 to 12 times. Well, if you have more time, you'll do more work. If you have active acute lower back injury issue, I might try releasing the glutes with my therapy balls. See if that's that's part of the reason. That's a contributing factor. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's because your upper back is tight and rounded and not doing its job. We'll get there. And now drop your knee out to the left knee out to the left. Roll your hip towards your knee so that you've actually rolled to another place, another location, which is right up at the top of the IT band at the TFL. This is an area that we hold a lot of tension in. Drop your knee if you can, Kathy, all the way over. You can bring your other hip up. Doesn't have to stay on the floor. That's
a tender spot for me.
There. Yes, that's the spot I'm talking about.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is an area that we hold a lot of tension in. There are different ways to get at this with therapy balls, but this is one of them. And this has to do with tightness in the hips. Come on back, set aside your ball. We're going to do a quad stretch because tight quads can also contribute to lower back. You're going to lie on the floor with your knees bent and take your knees a little wider than than usual, and drop your right knee towards your left knee.
Or this way.
There. So the knee should be a little higher up, Kathy. It's more how how do I say it? It's not, you're not pointing the knee toward the end of the mat. You're pointing the knee toward the outside, the long side of the mat. So take the knee across, not down, across the mat. Yes, it's more like, well, now drop your ankle down a little bit. Drop your ankle down, your right ankle down to the, and now, well, let's try that. So everybody get your knee at least as far across the mat as Kathy has it, or farther, and then put your left ankle on the knee. So the problem with your knee is it's not going to get as much of a stretch as if, okay, let's try it again. Come back up, bend your knees, get your knees a little closer to your face. Yes. Keep the right bent knee as bent as it is right now and drop it directly out to the left. So do you see where you're dropping it down? Maybe I'm seeing this wrong. Hold on.
It might be the angle.
It might be my angle, because this is one of the limitations of Zoom, is that I can't always see things exactly. My perception may not be exactly accurate.
I think it's your angle, really.
My angle, hold on. Okay. So, yeah, so now drop the other ankle. So this is a quad stretch. So I don't want your knee to go straight down towards the end of the mat. You need to go across and then the left. So I think Kathy's pretty good, actually. I think my
Really
thing is a problem. So go ahead, and what you're going to do now, this is a Ki-Hara stretch. You're stretching and strengthening at the same time. Push the bottom knee down with the top ankle. The ankle is winning, the knee is going down, down, down. You should feel a really nice stretch across. This is the stretching side of the practice. Across the top and side of the quad. And then the quad, the knee pushes up and wins, even though the ankle is still trying to push it down. So Ki-Hara, resistance stretching, always moving, keep moving, always moving, and always resisting, always resisting. So see, you can get the knee quite high up, the bottom knee comes quite high up, and then the top, the ankle pushes it down, and up and down you go. You can get it higher up than that, Kathy. Get it all the way up, so you can get a big stretch. Up, there, like that, and then come down. But all the time, you're having resistance in both of those directions. But a couple more times. And when you're down, all the way down, maybe stay for just to enjoy that stretch, because that is going to come all the way along the side and top of the thigh. It should feel really good. Tight quads can affect the lower back. And then remember that you're resisting as you come up. That's creating strength in the quads. And then you're resisting as you're coming down, and that's creating stretch.
Via,
Yep.
when I just relax down and I'm not moving, I'm just, relaxing the left leg on top of the right knee. My lower back is lifted. Is that okay? Or should I have something under there?
Let me ask you, does it hurt?
No, it doesn't hurt at all.
Then I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
And mine is too.
Yeah, I think it does lift the lower back.
Okay.
Go ahead and switch sides, everybody. Quad stretch.
Okay.
We're going to have a second class focusing on lower back, because I'm not going to get to everything but I can, yeah. I just feel like one of the things I realized when I was preparing this is that most of the things we do actually benefit the lower back, and I just don't mention them. Come up to a floor-seated position, cross-legged. We're going to do a side bend. You can do a cross-legged position, or let me say that any floor-seated position is going to help your lower back, because as you come in and out, up and down, out of a floor-seated position, Well, first of all, floor seated positions are hip openers. And then, when you get in and out of the position, it's actually you are juicing your joints and opening the hips. Floor seated, floor sitting is very good for the lower back. But you should be sitting in good posture. So that's the caveat there. You don't want to be round in your back. I'll go ahead and we're going to do a side bend. So just the right arm goes out, the left arm goes up and over. I'm going to time this. I want to say that the QL, which is the muscle that you're side bending from, Kathy's, it's right below the rib cage and above the pelvis on your side body, and you press in, it's right next to the spine. And the QL is another area that is directly correlates to lower back pain sometimes. So this is one of the ways that we could address lower back pain is by doing side bending. I forgot to tell you to bring your elbow forward, and we're not going to do that today. We're just going to stay here and switch sides. Stay on the QL only. Other arm, switch your legs, switch your arms, up and over. So remember the QL is well, you're stretching the QL on the one side and compressing it on the other side. And come on back up. We're going to do the spine twist here. Cross your legs, recross your legs. I'll tell you about the spine twist as we time it. So we're not going to do intercostal just because
Oh,
I don't think we'll do intercostal. Oh, no, we should. We should because it really relates to lower back. So let's do intercostal. So we're going to start with on the right side, the left arm. So your cross-legged position, left arm on the right knee, the right arm behind you. Put your fingers down like a spider and rotate the spine away, to the right as far as you can go. Once you find that perfect or optimal spine twist, hold it, and then without using your upper back, your shoulders or your traps, shift the rib cage from side to side. So just shifting a little and try to make it isolated so you're not affecting the twist. The spine twist and the intercostal slide both open up the upper back. One of the main issues that people have lower back issues is because their upper back is so tight and so immobile, and it's not doing its job. So the lumbar spine has to take over the job that the upper back and mid back is supposed to be doing. Every time we do a spine twist or a slide or a back bend, we're helping address upper back immobility. Other side, switch legs. Switch legs, switch sides, right hand on left knee, left arm behind you with spider hands. Rotate for a spinal twist, and then maintain the spinal twist and slide the rib cage side to side. Try to isolate it so it's just the rib cage. Now we're timing this because this is a bone building also, bone building pose. But this also is helping with immobility or tightness or tension in the upper and mid back. Come on out of that, come up to a chair. We're going to do a figure 4 on the chair with a flat back hip hinge, which is great. Anytime you're working on posture, you're actually helping your lower back. But this is working directly on the spine. You're going to sit on a chair. And then you're going to bring your right knee up and cross it over. Figure 4, this is already a hip opener. Now, yeah, it's good. Now, what you're going to do is sit tall and then fold forward at the hip joint, not at the lumbar. This is hugely important for lower back stuff. This is all about lower back stuff. Thinking of your whole entire spine as a broomstick, you're going to fold forward at the hips. Point to the hip joint, Kathy. Down here somewhere. So it's not up at you're not bending, rounding. You keep your back flat back, hip hinge. Remember, your head is like head ramping, so it's an extension of your spine. We're going to hold for about 30 seconds, I think. Hold on. Hold for 30 seconds. And feel how good this is actually like traction for the lower back. You can use your hands on your feet or your knee, your crossed knee. You can use your hands to help you create a really nice flat back. And then remember that you can ramp your head so your chin drops because the back of your head slides up toward toward the ceiling on the angle of your broomstick. Come on back, everybody. Just come on back and switch legs. We'll do it on the other side. Flat back hip hinge. You can do this standing also. Really important movement. Is folding forward, but the fold is at the joint, the hip joint. You should feel a really flat back, or you will feel it as you start to exercise, continue this practice. I like to do this while I'm on the toilet, because there you are with not much else to do. You don't have to cross your legs, but you could fold unless you wanted to, but you could fold forward and then come on back up. Come on back up. Flat back hip hinge, probably a really important pose for lower back. We're going to do now a back bend on the chair. So you should probably use your other chair for this.
Yeah.
So this is also an alternative to back bend at the wall, which we may or may not even, we won't get to. This is our very last pose, I guess. I totally underestimated this class, but anyway, it was a good idea. We'll have another class with lower back education, part 2. So from here, you're sitting on your chair. This is a chair that you need a back because you're going to put your arms back like little sticks. You're going to keep them straight and then push away from the back of the chair to lift your head. Don't drop your chin back. Okay, bring your head a little bit. So there. So the chin is, you should feel long along the spine, like head ramping. And then, so Parvin's going to go up to the wall. And people who want to can go up to the wall because we're not going to get to the back bend at the wall. But this is also, so I'd like to see you farther forward. I feel like you're leaning back. No. Get your hips back farther. Get your hips under your spine and then push away just the chest. It's a chest opener only. Straighten your elbows. and open your chest. You should feel it at the upper back. Just stay here for a couple more breaths. Drop your chin. Yeah. When you drop your chin, at least when I drop my chin, I feel the spine, the cervical spine straighten, and the back of the head, the occipital ridge slides up. That's the position that's you need to find here. And in almost every time that we're working on either back bends or chest openers. And go ahead and come out of that and come onto the floor for our final Yoga Nidra meditation. Lie on your back. If you'd like to, you can put your legs up, just like we did in the beginning of class. This is one of the things I always suggest because of some of its benefits. So you can put your legs up on a chair, or you can bend your knees, or you can extend your legs. If you bend your knees or extend your legs, I suggest you have a pillow under your knees. It's hard on your lower back to extend your legs. You're going to find, I'm going to undo. You might want to put a blanket over your body. You might want to put a washcloth over your eyes so that you're, to help your eyeballs drop into the sockets. Very restful. I'm going to guide you through 61 points, body parts, and ask you not to move the body parts, but just to move your attention to those body parts when I mention them. So we're going to start with the breath, breathing in and breathing out, observing your abdomen as it rises and falls with your breath. And then bring your awareness and your attention to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, left elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, right knee, ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. This concludes your 61-point guided Yoga Nidra meditation. Go ahead and start to bring yourself back to the room. Stretch your legs, extend your legs. Throw away the chair, if your legs were on a chair. Stretch your arms overhead so that you're trying to stretch in both directions, creating a little bit more space for the QL, actually, the QL muscle and the space between your pelvis and your rib cage. And then wiggle right, stretch left, stretch right, Circle your ankles and your wrists in one direction and then the other. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Hug your right knee into your chest, releasing the lower back. Hug your left knee into the chest. This is a great release for the lower back. Hug both knees in and rock from side to side. This is also, all of these knee hugs are great for lower back release. Rolling side to side and then finally rolling all the way over onto your side into a fetal position using your bottom arm as a pillow. Your top arm hand presses into the floor. Bring yourself up to seated, trying not to round your back, especially your lumbar. Find a comfortable floor-seated position. We're going to close the class. I'm going to remove the spotlight from Kathy. I'm going to go to gallery view so I can see all of you. I cannot do that for everybody. So if you want to see everybody, you have to do that first. Bring your hands.
Mute.
Mute, please. Oops. Unmute. Bring your hands to your chest in prayer pose. Sit tall. Press the palms together strongly. A little bit of shoulder work, hand work, wrist work. And then you go ahead and make that gentle. Gentle prayer pose. And then lift the occipital ridge up toward the ceiling. The chin drops a little, and then you nod. The whole skull just nods forward over the top of the cervical spine, C1. Nodding forward, bowing to each other. Recognizing and honoring the light in each of us. That's what namaste means. And recognizing that we are all one light. We're going to close the class by saying to each other, namaste.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you.
I am going to stop the recording if anyone wants to talk afterwards.